Hey everyone, welcome back to the Board Game Spotlight. Today we're going to look at Welcome to the Jungle. This is from Coffee Cake Gaming. It's for 2 to 4 players and it plays in about 60 to 120 minutes. So let's take this to the table and I'm going to tell you about it. So in Welcome to the Jungle, you are fighting for control of turfs. You are going to have to make really tough decisions in order to be the kingpin. You want to come out as the top dog of the jungle. So let's talk about exactly how you're going to do that. So the first thing you're going to do on your turn is you're going to roll the roulette wheel. This is going to give you either goodies, cash, or you might get robbed. So in this case, we're going to gain one of these goodies tokens. Now these tokens are going to be used to unlock and upgrade each of these turfs. So for instance, you'll notice that this turf needs 4 of these resources in order to raise it and take control of that turf. So when a player spins the roulette wheel, they can also bid on the outcome. So if a player thinks that they're going to land in this part, there are 4 parts, then they would double their bid or whatever they're gambling. So we'd come out with $1,000 if we were to bid that much money there. Now that's super risky, but hey, sometimes you got to spend money to make a little bit of money. So after you spin the roulette wheel, you're then going to draw a smash and grab card. Now these cards are events. Some of them are going to allow you to use them during a turf war, and we're going to talk about turf wars here in 1 second. So in this case, you get to rotate all the weapons in the weapons emporium. So that means that we're going to take this weapon, which is the oldest, it's going to go underneath the pile, and we're going to rotate all of the weapons, and there's a new one that's going to come out. So after you do your smash and grab, you're then going to be able to do a weapon depot action. So in this case, you can purchase a weapon. So this would cost $200 for an ice pick. You have brass knuckles, and here's an Uzi. Now, the key to this is that they have values that are going to help you in a turf war. They also have a specific indicator that if they are paired with a crew member, it's going to raise that crew member's strength. So we could pay $300 for these brass knuckles. So next we can go to the goodie transaction step. So we can buy and purchase any amount of goodies from the resources. Here it shows you exactly how much it costs and how much you can sell them for. You cannot buy and sell the same goodie in the same turn, but what you're trying to do is gain goodies or money in order to pay to control this turf. So what would happen is we could purchase for $100, we could purchase 4 of those. We have 500, so we'll take 1 back. We could then gain 4 of these resources, and then during the next step, which is your turf actions, we can turn these in to control this turf. So after goodies are finished, you'll go into your turf action. You can take over an unclaimed turf. You can raise a turf that you control 1 level, and these cards go from 1 to 5, with 5 being the kingpin cards. So what we want to do is we first want to gain control of this turf. So we will pay our 4 resources and we will gain control of that turf by placing down one of our control markers. If a player wants to do a turf war, they would have to pay these resources, and the victor is going to gain whatever was in that turf. So during your turf actions, there are 5 things that you can do. You can claim an unclaimed turf like we just showed you. You can raise the turf. So here we could pay 2 of these resources. So these 2 resources and $100. We would remove whatever was there before, and we would raise the street cred to a soldier. Now, when you get to street cred 5, you're going to have the ability to use a kingpin action. Now, these kingpin abilities are really powerful. Whoever controls the turf with the kingpin is going to have the option of using that action on their turn. When you use a Kingpin action, you flip your player token over to show that you've used it, and you cannot use it again until the next round. So what if a player wants to gain control of a turf? Because really, the game's all about area control. You're trying to control these turfs inside the city. The game's going to end when a player hits a certain number of turfs, so you definitely want to be that player, or you want to stop your opponents from controlling turfs. So the way that works is if a player wanted to try to control a turf from us, they would place the resources needed and they would place their player marker. So they are basically saying, hey, I see you, I'm coming for you, let's do this. This is a turf war. When you go into a turf war, each player is going to get 15 of these crew cards. Now, from these crew cards, you're then going to discard 5 of these cards. Now, this is important because there are 3 battles in a turf war. You're going to need to use weapons to come out on top. Sometimes you can use smash and grab cards to aid your turf war. What you're trying to do is play sets. The turf war is a game of set collection. So poly 2 times. For 2 polys, they will gain 4 strength. Now, the attacker is going to play the first card in the first battle, the defender plays the first card in the second battle, and the attacker plays the first card in the third battle. So the way this works is you're going to play a card out, and then your opponent's going to play a card. So let's say your opponent plays Jane Doe. Okay, so there's the card. Then you're going to come back, and maybe you want to play Iris. Okay, so not bad. Then your opponent comes back with another Jane Doe. So they have collected a set. Now, some of these cards are going to have abilities that you can activate when you place them. So this is going to remove your opponent's last played crew card. So there is definitely player interaction with using your crew cards to try to harm your opponent throughout this turf war, because the player who has the most strength at the end of 3 battles is going to be declared the winner. They're going to be the victor. They're going to gain the resources that were on that turf, and they're going to control that turf. So you really, really want to win. You can have 3 total cards, either from the smash and grab or weapons in your sidebar when you're taking the turf war action. And so these are going to raise, again, this is 4 power, but if it is played alongside a crew member that wants that symbol, it's going to raise their attack level or their crew power. So there is a lot of really thinky, interesting set collection with the weapons and how to use them along with the cards that you're dealt. The game is going to continue in rounds until a player has control of a certain number of turfs. And again, that is determined based on the player number. So if Welcome to the Jungle looks like a game that's for you, if you're interested in knowing more about this game, take a look at the description below for a link to their Kickstarter campaign. This has been Derek with the Board Game Spotlight, and this has been your preview of Welcome to the Jungle.